your production. You will increase your production, but you pay less for the cost of production. Then again, when you enter into the global markets, you get access to diverse ways of doing things, different ways of doing things, and that is global innovation. And with innovation as a firm, when you enter into the world markets, you will learn new ways of doing things. That is innovation. And when you learn these new ways of doing things, you'll be able to operate in the diverse markets or in the different markets that you find yourself. Now, as a business or a firm, how would you integrate the world markets? If you want to integrate the world markets, you are supposed to do it through the flow of goods. That is, you send your goods out there, or you provide services, or even capital. You can invest in the economy of that country that you want to go and trade in, or even with the use of technology as well as people. Now, I think last week, Ghana signed an MOU with a country where we are going to send our teachers and nurses out there to work. And this can be done through globalization. So the question is, what is globalization? It is the integration of markets through the flow of goods. That is, you send your goods out there, you provide services, or even invest in the economy of the markets that you find yourself. Now, moving on quickly to the drivers of globalization. We are going to look at 4 major drivers, which is the market drivers, the cost drivers, government, and competitive drivers. When we take the market drivers, we are looking at the market drivers, we are looking at factors that will influence and drive market growth. Now, what are these factors? These factors, we are going to talk about demographical changes. We are looking at economical factors such as inflation and the rest. We can also look at technological factors or technological advancements, even to regulatory changes. Now, with the market drivers too, it will help you to know the similarities when it comes to your customers' needs. It will help you get global customers. Then again, transferable marketing skills too. Another drivers we can also look at is the cost drivers. Now, the cost drivers here, we are looking at economic of scale, which I have explained, as a business getting a cost advantage because you produce more at a lesser price. We can also look at global sourcing efficiency, where, since you are out there, since you are in different markets, you'll be able to source for maybe different raw materials at a cheaper price. You get people with diverse knowledge or competencies to help you as a company or as a business. Then you will also get a chance to have technological enhancements. Then we can also look at government drivers, where you will talk about trade liberalization, where you can trade among the various markets without any restrictions. Then international agreements. And with the international agreements, we can look at the World Trade Organization. They have this flagship program, that is the African Continental Free Trade Area. And we even have the headquarters here in Ghana, here precisely in Accra. So members of the WTO, that is World Trade Organization, trade among themselves freely without any restrictions. Then the last drivers we look at is competitive drivers, where you will get access to global competitors, people in the same business line with you. Then again, interdependence of market too. So having known globalization, the integration of markets, looking at the drivers, let's quickly look at the dimensions of global strategy. Now we have a lot of dimensions, but we are tackling the 3 key ones. That is global integration, local responsiveness, and the worldwide learning and innovation. When we talk of global integration here, it is simply you coordinating the activities of the various markets or countries to achieve efficiency and synergy, how you are going to bring those markets together as one. And when you are able to do it, you will achieve consistency here, you will achieve efficiency across the international operations. Then the second dimension, which is local responsiveness. Local responsiveness is all about adapting to the local needs, preferences, and tastes of the people, as well as the markets you find yourself. as well as their regulations. You know, every country with its regulations. Then again, their cultural preferences too. So local responsiveness is like the locals, the markets that you find yourself, how you are going to adapt to their needs, customers' needs based on their taste, their preferences, how you will be able to abide by the rules that you find in there, and also their cultural preferences too. Then the last under the dimension, you look at the worldwide learning and innovation. When you enter different markets beyond your domestic own, beyond your local one, now you will have you will be able to share ideas, you learn new things, new ways of doing things out there, you learn innovation across the various markets that you find yourself. And it will lead to global learning. Global learning here, we are looking at you sharing knowledge, you conforming to what is known as best practices, which we were explained yesterday in our presentation, and also having access to new innovations that you haven't even come across. Now, with these dimensions, if you are able to follow as a business, it will help you to balance your global consistency with local adaptation, that is knowing the needs of the market you find yourself, and also it will drive growth and competitiveness. Now, let's quickly look at the types of international or global strategies that we have. And with this, I think we've seen it in our previous discussions, that is the previous block. We have four main ones. We have the international strategy, the multi-domestic strategy, the global strategy, and the transnational strategy. Now, when we talk of the national strategy, you know, every business, if you want to go abroad, if you want to go beyond your national borders, it is the first step that we are going to take. And here, you, the firm or the business, you will create your products at home. So let's assume Ghana, we have a business here in Ghana, like Group 1 business, and we want to trade in Nigeria. We are going to create our products in Ghana here and sell it internationally. Okay, and with this, the creation of our products, we are going to create to suit with little adaptation. We are not going to consider the markets that we find ourselves in. No, you are going to produce the products here in Ghana, then you will sell worldwide. And let's look at the integration and the responsiveness here. Will the integration be high or low? The integration under the international strategy will be low. It will be low because, you know, you are doing everything in your home. You are doing everything in the home country, so the integration will be low. Then when it comes to responsiveness too will be low because you are not going to consider the needs, the tastes, the preferences of the markets that you are going to sell. So, and responsiveness too is low because you don't consider the needs, the taste, and the preferences of the markets you want to sell. Now, moving on to multi-domestic strategy, I will say, or the group will say that multi-domestic strategy is like when you go to Group 1, maybe restaurants as an example. You have a restaurant here in Ghana and you want to operate in Saudi Arabia. Now, the multi-domestic strategy says that you are going to produce or you are going to cook according to the taste, the preferences of the people in Saudi Arabia. So here you tailor your product to suit the local market, and whatever you do, so whatever we produce in Ghana here will be different from what they know. Each country will operate independently. It is not like they are coming together to share ideas or they are coming together to share resources. No. So integration will be low because each country, you will produce according to your locality. But what of local responsiveness? If you are producing according to the taste and preferences of the people, then eventually they are going to patronize, they are going to buy. So the company will get more when it comes to patronizing your product, because in producing, you consider the needs, the taste, the preferences, the regulations, and the cultural preferences of the people where in the markets that you are finding yourself. And a typical example, we can cite Nestle or Unilever. Then global strategy, that's the opposite of multi-domestic strategy. And here it is a one size fits for all. So you consider the whole world market as one, as a single one, where companies sees the entire world as single, as I have said, and a unified market. So instead of you, the business producing, or instead of you producing to suit each individual countries, you just produce a company standardized and offer it out there. And here, customers' needs, their tastes, their preferences, they consider it as same everywhere. So coming back to our integration, integration will be so high because it will be high because the companies will have different international units that will tighten integration, and also it will work together as a single unit. Let me give a typical example so that we will understand. When we take Apple products, for instance, company, I think we have different people working there, people from Africa and people from worldwide. So they will have expertise, or they will share knowledge from different sources. For the integration, it will be so high. But what of local responsiveness? Is it high or low? Eventually, it is low because the global strategy, it is a one size fits for all. You produce one and distribute. So you don't even consider the needs and preferences of the markets that you are going to sell in there. You don't consider their needs, their preferences, regulations, and culture. So that is why Apple phone in US is the same when you come to Ghana. Apple phone in Nigeria is the same when you get to UK. So a typical example of the global strategy is we can cite Apple as an example. And we can also cite Samsung as maybe multi-domestic. They produce according to the local needs of the people. Now, our last strategy I will talk about is the transnational strategy. And this is a bit complex because they want to combine both the global strategy and the local responsiveness. Now, if I'm going back, sorry, to the global strategy, no, global strategy, they just want to produce at a lower cost. So the transnational strategy, you produce at a lower cost, but you want people to patronize more. So it combines two strategies for the transnational one. And here, integration will be high because it combines global efficiency and local responsiveness. Then when it comes to the local responsiveness, it's high because when producing, they want to consider the needs, preferences of the people. At the same time, they want to produce one product. And a typical example I have cited earlier, we have Samsung and even McDonald's. Wherever you go and you find McDonald's, the things that, because they consider the needs, the preferences of the people. So it depends on the company or the firm to choose the one which will best fit its strategy. So I will end here for the next presenter to also continue with the theories.
Yeah, thank you very much. Please, there are certain theories underpinning the global strategy. So I will be talking on theoretical foundations of global strategy. And on our list, we have three. That is comparative advantage. We have the Potter's diamond um, of national advantage, and then the integration and integration responsiveness framework. And I think with that, my sister has elaborated on it, so I'll take the first two. So when it comes to the theory of comparative advantage, it's an economic principle that explains how countries or individuals benefit by specializing in producing goods they can produce more efficiently than others, and trading for goods they are less efficient at producing. So a country has a comparative advantage in producing a good if it can produce it at a lower opportunity cost than another country. And so when I say producing at a lower opportunity cost, then we are saying that opportunity cost of producing a good is what is foregone, what is foregone in terms of the production of another good. And with this, it leads to specialization in trade, leading to a greater efficiency and economic growth for all parties involved. Then we also want to talk about the Potter's Diamond of National Advantage. And this theory is a theory developed by Michael Porter to explain why certain countries are more competitive in special or specific industries. Then it identifies four key factors that shapes a nation's ability to compete internationally. And so aside the four, there is another factor we want to talk about. So the first one I would like to talk about is the factor conditions. And these conditions refers to a country's resources such as skilled labor, infrastructure, natural resources, research capabilities, etc., which suits the needs of local industries. Then we also want to talk about the demand conditions. And this one talks about the nature and size of local demand for a product or service and the presence of sophisticated and demanding local customers pushes firms to innovate and improve quality. So that if a company's product or services do not meet the expectations or demands of its consumers or customers, then they need to up their game so that they will live or they will be able to live to the expectations and demands of their customers. Then we also have related and supporting industries. This one talks about the presence of competitive supplier industries and related sectors that support innovation and efficiency, and it creates a conducive stance for competitive advantage. Then we have the firm strategy, structure, and rivalry. And this talks about how companies are organized and managed and the intensity of local competition on uh, intensity of local competition in that strong domestic rivalry drives improvement and global competitiveness. Then the last one I want to talk about is the role of the government. And so the role of the government can also not be overlooked. So government brings in policies, education and infrastructure to facilitate the economic conditions in trade. So like I said, the last theory is the integration and responsiveness. Uh, Integration and responsiveness framework, which is a strategic tool used to explain how multinational companies manage global efficiency and local responsiveness. So that it talks about global integration and local responsiveness. And the four strategic options in the IR framework are global strategy, multi-domestic, transnational strategy, and then the international strategy, which my sister spoke about earlier on. So, in the nutshell, these are the theoretical foundations of global strategy.
Okay, so I thank my sister so much. We want to continue by looking at the modes of global market entry. So, as group one, maybe we have. Hello, dog.
And secondly, be aware of the time. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Proceed.
Okay. So group one has a company which we want to market globally, as earlier on said by my sister. So how are we able to go to the global front? First, we look at exporting, where we sell our products to other people in other countries. An example is Ghana being the second world exporter of cocoa, producing about 20% of the global cocoa supply. Also, we can talk about using the means of licensing and franchising. With licensing and franchising, the producer who is the licensor, will give a license to another company who is termed as the licensee for a royalty. And this, they are allowed to use some of their intellectual properties like their trademark, their patent, etc., to be able to operate and then pay them their royalties. The licensing is almost like the franchising, but with the franchising, they follow rules and standards set by the franchisor, and that they are also have to also produce their financial commitment to them. Example can be said of the KFC with the franchisor. So the KFC in Texas is the same as KFC in Ghana, with Moscow Food Processing having the franchise to produce in Ghana. We also look at the joint venture. We can also use joint venture to enter the global market. As the word suggests, joint, so it means partnership. So a company, two companies can decide to come into an agreement, a foreign company and then another company coming together in order to be able to produce and then supply their goods globally. An example can be talk of at the Anglo Gold Ashanti. We can also talk about the Sanlam and the Alliance Insurance companies who are now operating in Ghana. The third we want to talk about is the wholly owned or wholly owned, which is also an example of the foreign direct investment. And with this, a company, let's say in Ghana, will want to go to, let's say, United States and then set up their business either from scratch or purchasing an existing company by buying their 100% share. An example of these can be said of the Toyota Motor Corporation, which is in Japan, but now has a establishment in the United States and operating. And lastly, we will talk about the mergers and acquisition. With mergers, when two companies decide to come together and form one legal entity, whilst the acquisition is maybe a company does not want to operate again, so they will sell off their company to another company to operate. And that can be example of it is the Tire Motors, who acquired from the Ford Motor Companies, the Jaguar, and the Land Rover. So these are some of the most through which a business can also produce globally. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Catherine. Yeah, lawyer, I'm taking from the challenges in implementing global strategy, and I will talk of the first challenge I'll pick is the difference in cultural practices. Yes, when we talk of the cultural differences, that is, different countries have unique values, beliefs, and communication styles and business practices. These differences can lead to misunderstanding, conflict, or ineffective teamwork when businesses operate internationally. For example, considered what is considered professional or polite in one culture might be viewed differently in another. So, in order for companies to overcome these cultural differences, they need to do cultural training and adapt the strategies to the local customs or to the place where the company is being operated from. Then, secondly, we talk of the political and legal areas. As we can see, most countries has its own political environment, laws and regulations that can affect how a company operates. Changes in government, trade policies, or taxation can disrupt business plans, just as we saw in last year when the prices of goods shoot up very quickly. Most industries went out of operation. Some countries may have unstable political systems or unpredictable regulations. Companies must study and understand the legal requirements and political climate before entering new markets to reduce risk. Then the final one we talk of is the ethical and CSR issues. The ethical standards and expectations differ from one country to another. A practice that is acceptable one place may be seen as unethical elsewhere. Companies must ensure they act responsibly, avoiding exploitation of workers, environmental harm, or corruption. Emphasizing CSR helps build trust with local communities and protects the company's global reputation. Now, this year I'll end with the challenges affecting the implementation of the global strategy.
All right. So, good job. You've demonstrated some good industry in all of your presentation. I think this group you are doing so well.
Okay. It's accept the graph of Risapum.
Are you yet to present?
Please, should I continue?
Continue. I thought you are done. The challenges are there.
Okay. So I will take my part from contemporary global strategic trends, which contains three aspects. That is digital regionalization, sustainability, and ESG strategies. The ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. Now, I will take digital globalization. It's the increasing interconnectedness of the world's economic and society through digital technologies. This trend is driven by rapid growth of economics or e-commerce or e-business or digital services. It enables these new companies to reach up new markets and also new customers.
So
Two, regionalization. Regionalization is the trend of economic and strategic integration within the specific geographic regions. This involves increasing the investment, trade, and cooperation among neighborhoods. This helps to promote economic growth and stability of the region or sub-region. The final aspect is sustainability and ESG strategies. This involves this strategy are becoming increasingly importantly for businesses. The trend involves integrating sustainability and ESG consideration into the corporate strategies, operations, and decision-making processes. Companies who put above sustainability and ESG strategies get attractive customers and investors. One key aspect or drivers of global strategic trend is technological advancement. That is the use of AI and other digital technology. I will therefore conclude. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Your time is up. We want to stick to the time. So good job.
Yes.
I think the group has done an excellent job. They've also taken the time for us to ask questions. And so, are there any comments, questions? We'll take them now. Any questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll ask mine. All right, see, there are none. So I want to ask the group. When it comes to having a product produced in Ghana, a product which is produced in Ghana, but when sent to America, it's the same product with different modifications to suit that segment, what strategy would that be? I think the graph should mute. When you have a product produced in Ghana, and that same product is sent to America with specific modifications to suit the segment in America, what strategy, what global strategy would that be? Yes.
Lawyer, I would say transnational.
Are you sure?
Yes, lawyer.
Okay. Who is seconding or the pattern?
The place I second.
Hey, Elizabeth, yesterday you started and she seconded a wrong answer. Today too, you have
Yes, please.
you. All right.
Oh, we can explain. Maybe our explanation will get the marks for us.
No, he's not saying it's not correct. He's wondering why yesterday you seconded me and I'm doing so today.
Okay. Well, all right. Is so Puma, explain in a minute and let me see why you think it's transnational.
Okay, so for the transnational, they take the global, which is producing in the home country, then taking it to the international segment where they consider the local responsiveness of the people. And in your question, you said you produce in home with adaptation from with changes considering the local responsiveness of where you are going to sell it. So that is what I'm saying is transnational. You produce according to your home, but you consider the needs, the preferences, the taste, and all that of the market segment you are going to sell.
You have satisfied my curiosity. Okay. But this group, you are doing so well. You are doing so well. Okay, you are acquitted. You are
100%.
acquitted.
Thank
It's not
you.
say 100.
Thank you. Thank you.
100%. My group members are great.
Okay, you score yourself. I know the marks I've given. Okay, so the next group should do it in 20
Oh, yeah, it's a
minutes.
group work. Oh, so say marks.
It's not the same, everyone, and yeah, but almost like similar to each member. Yes, but it's individually awarded. Okay, so next group, please, respectfully. You spend your time, spend within the time, 20 minutes.
Madam Poma, please don't share.
Aminu. Okay, good afternoon, colleagues.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, Doug. Please,
Good.
this is group two. We are looking at the strategy implementation. Aminu. Okay, these are objectives, and the first one we are going to look at is the principal managerial components of strategy execution. And when we say strategy execution, it's the process of putting an organization's plan into actions to achieve its goals and objectives. That is, it's like a bridge between the company's visions and its results. It also involves in mobilizing people, resources, structures, any system to achieve organization vision and their objectives. As we go ahead, we say that this includes one, leadership and directions. We say that leadership is one of the most crucial elements of strategy execution. When we look at the theory seconding it, we are saying that transformational leadership theory by Burns Effective leadership inspires and motivates employees to go beyond self-interest for good of the organization. It also their set of expectation performance align with their strategic goals and creates commitment across all levels of the organization. We look at the second point, that is the organizational structure, which says that the structure of an organization determines how roles, responsibilities, and authorities are distributed. We use looking at the contingency theory by Lawrence and Lodge, which emphasize that there is no single best structure. Rather, the structure must fit the organization strategy and environment. For instance, a course leadership strategy may require the centralized structure for efficiency, whilst a diversification or innovation strategy may need to decentralize structure to enhance flexibility. Then I look at the last but one, which is the resource allocation, and it involves providing the necessary financial, human, and technological resources to support strategic initiatives. The theory based on it is resource-based view of the Barney, 1991, that competitive advantage is achieved when an organization effectively deploys resources that are valuable, raw, and substitutable. We see that managers are therefore ensure that resources are directed towards activities that yield the highest strategic value. Then the last one looks at the communications and coordinations. Effective communication ensure that all employees under the strategy, their roles, and how their work contribute to organizational goals. Then we go to the next slide. Yeah. We look at the building an organization capable of good strategic execution. And I'm looking at 3 points: staffing the organization, developing critical resources and capability. We are looking at the structuring the organization to support strategy. We say that staffing the organization ensures that there is adequate human resources across all levels to execute tasks effectively. That is hiring and retain talented individuals who are competent to do or take the task. Then we look at developing critical resources and capability. That is encouraging innovation and adaptability to respond to market changes and strategic shifts. Then the last one is the structuring the organization to support strategy. That is, establish a clear roles and responsibility to avoid confusion and ensure accountability. Also, implement processes and systems that facilitate coordination, communication, and performance tracking. Then the last point I'll be looking at is allocation resources to strategic critical activities, which identify one. The first one is identify strategic critical activities, prioritize based on strategic impact, and allocate financial resources. So when we look at the identify the strategic critical activities, we are looking at the operation, projects, and department that directly support strategic goals. Then the second one, that is prioritized based on strategic impact. That is, it evaluates which activities has the highest potential to drive competitive advantage or long-term growth. Then the last one is allocate financial resources. That is, ensure budget allocation reflects strategic priorities. That is, invest more in high impact areas and reduce others. Thank you. My colleague will continue with the next slide. Aminu.
Okay. All right. Please, I'll continue with the next two slides. on the objectives, installing information and operation systems, and also rewards and incentives to promote if better strategic execution. You know that we cannot talk about strategic systems or implementations when we don't talk about information systems and operation systems, system put in place, and also most importantly rewards and incentives that is going to help in better strategic execution. The first is we are going to talk about the benefits we are going to get, which is in installing information operating system. We are going to look at the system in crucial aspect of strategic implementation. The aspect we are going to cover is the customer data. By customer relation management, who are in charge with the system of customer data. What do they do? What they do is that they manage customer interactions. They store data about customers and facilitate engagement with customers. And also on operating data, we have the enterprise resource planning system. And that system is also to integrate business processes, then enhancing efficiency. That is the doing things right, and also productivity. With employee data system is also important here. Here, the use of the HR system in order to track employee performance, their skills and development needs. Notwithstanding the supply partner collaborative data, it's also by the supply chain management aspect of the organization, which is used to optimize supply chain operation, ensuring there's a timely delivery and a quality assurance. And also the last I'll talk about is the financial performance data, which is also mounted by the financial management system, a system where financial metrics are tracked and it enables informed decision making in terms of the financial department. Now we are going to look at the theories before we come to the benefits. We are going to look at the theories that underpins the installation of information and operative systems. The first theory we have is the SCOR, which is the supply chain operation reference model, which is a management tool which addresses supply chain issues. That is, it focuses on the reliability, responsiveness, as our other colleagues talked about the flexibility, cost, and asset management in an organization. Then we look at the ELP, which is the enterprise resource planning system. That system also integrates business processes from production to delivery. It enhances efficiency and productivity. Then the last we look at is the SRM, which is the customer relation management system. It's also used to manage customer interaction. As I said earlier, they store data of customers and also facilitate engagement with customers. So before I come to it, let's look at the use of rewards and incentives to promote better strategic execution. As we have learned from our previous lessons that rewards, for example, we can talk of the recognition of progress, bonuses, profit sharing, promotions, career development, professional development opportunities. And we can talk of incentives for strategic execution, such as the performance-based bonuses, sales commissions, document or free service, gift cards can also be used, or vouchers. We can talk about extra time or vacation days. So this play a vital role in promoting better strategic execution and a strategic implementation. Here are some of the theories and principles that underpins the use of rewards and incentives to promote better strategic execution. First, we are going to look at the expectancy theory. That one we have learned during our last blocks. That's in expectancy theory, which was developed by Victor Vroom. That suggests that employees are motivated when they believe their effort will lead to a desired outcome. So employees are only motivated when they know that what they are doing will lead to a desired outcome. And with the equity theory, it is also propounded by John Stacey Adams, which also states that employees are motivated by fairness, that there should always be fair and justice, and balancing the input with their outcome rewards. So this means that equal work for equal pay. When they see that others doing the same work and others are paid better than them, that will bring about agitation. So if you want to have a strategic implementation of or execution of strategy, then we have to look at the fairness and justice. And we have reinforcement theory, which is also propounded by the psychological concepts such as the B.F. Skinner, which talks about the positive reinforcement such as rewards, which can encourage desired behaviors. Example of rewards that I will talk about is the monetary reward. That one too, we have learned much about it. I will mention a few examples of it, which are the salary increments, anything that concerns about money, salary increment, the bonuses, the commissions, and equity. And under non-monetary rewards too, we have recognition, career development, and opportunities. With flexible work arrangements and wellness programs all constitute non-monetary reward. That's reward that doesn't have a direct involvement of money. Then the last but not the least that I'll talk about is the team-based incentive, which is also a collective bonuses or reward for team performance. When the whole team performs well, they are given a bonus, not rather the individual on individual basis, but it is given to the whole team to encourage collaboration and teamwork. So this is the little I'll say about the strategic execution using the information system and the rewards and incentives. So my brother will also continue with the rest of the slide. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will continue with the overcoming implementations of challenges and then strategy implementation challenges. So I'll first start with the strategy implementation challenges, where we'll first look at resistance to change. People often feel comfortable with their usual way of working. When new strategy requires more to change processes or learn new skills or adopt different behaviors, some may resist. For example, if a company introduces a new software system, employees might have Hello?
You can be heard, please.
Okay, employees might avoid using it because they are used to the old system. So this is telling us that sometimes people resist to change, and that is what really cause challenges or causes strategic implementation. Then we look at poor communication. When instructions, goals, and expectations are not clearly communicated, employees may misunderstand what they are supposed to do. Miscommunication can cause delay, mistake, or duplication of work. For instance, if the manager does not clearly explain new sales targets, the team may not meet them. Then we look at the third one is lack of accountability. If no one is responsible for specific tasks, things can get neglected. Accountability ensures that everyone knows their role in executing the strategy. Without it, deadlines may be missed and objective may fail. The fourth one is inadequate resources. Implementing a strategy often requires money, personnel, equipment, or technology. If these resources are lacking, execution becomes very difficult. Example, launching a marketing company without enough budget or staff will hinder success. The fifth one talks about weak leadership. Leaders guide, motivate, and provide direction. If leaders fail to inspire or support their team, employees may be confused, devoted, demotivated, or disengaged. Strong leadership is crucial to keep the team focused and aligned with strategic goals. Now we look at overcoming implementation challenges. How to overcome implementation challenges. First, we look at develop clear communication channels. Ensure everyone knows their strategy, their roles, and expectations. This can be done through meeting, emails, dashboards, or training sessions. Clear communication reduces misunderstandings and increase efficiency. Then the second one is aligned structure and cultural strategy. The organization structure and culture should support the strategy. For example, if strategy is customer focused, the company culture should encourage employees to patronize customer needs. This alignment make it easier for employees to adopt changes and implement the strategy successfully. Then we look at the last one, which is that use continuous monitoring and feedback to make adjustments quickly. So there should be monitoring of team so that it will improve work strategies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is that all for everyone?
Yes, please,
Yes,
Doc.
All right. Very well. You were within the time, a little above it. That's okay. So any questions from the house? Okay, so if there are none, my question is that when we say that a company is engaging strategically, we mean the company must formulate a strategy and must implement a strategy. Now, which theory argues for why formulation alone is not enough, but you need to implement the strategy towards a desired goal? You have less than a minute, any one of you.
resource-based theory.
You need to demonstrate.
Doc, please, from what I presented, or from the side that I talked about, I would say that the strategic management theory that deals with both the formulation and implementation, and also evaluation of the strategic implementations. So the strategic management theories.
Which theory? Yes, I'm listening.
Oh, please, I said the strategic management theory.
There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
Doc, what about the resource-based view?
Oh, are you just fishing across? What about? Eh? You're just fishing to see which one is okay. I've asked the question. Provide an answer and argue why the answer should be taken. You have less than a minute to do that.
Yes, sir. Charlie.
None of you.
Or can I come again by saying the goal setting theory?
Demonstrate.
The goal setting theory emphasizes on the clear, specific, and the challenging goals and the implementation of all the strategic performances.
Oh, I'm not getting the answer. So what are you saying or what are you reading?
I'm saying the goal setting theory.
Yes,
By making
demonstrate.
sure that the goal sets, the goal setting theory, making sure that the goal that has been set should be achieved successfully using the strategies that we talked about. This can be done by the goal setting theory. So for a successful strategic implementation, there should be a goal setting theory so that whatever goal has been put in place can be achieved through implementation.
Well, you said something, but that's like 1/10. But you said something. Okay, who is adding? Then we go to the next presentation. Who is adding? No one in the group.
Sir, please, can you come again with a question?
So what were you answering to? Anita, all that what were you answering to?
I got a little bit confused. That's why I wanted to be sure what I wanted to say.
I'm saying that as strategy formulation must be converted to implementation.
Okay.
Which theory states that you must move from strategy formulation to its implementation to be able to achieve your desired goals in strategy.
Okay. With the resource-based view, it says that it argues about using valuable, raw, immutable, and non-sustainable resources. It says that it's dispute over resource deployment. It uses competitive advantages to implement like my explanation is not stable, so
All right, and thank you very much, all of you. We'll move to our next presentation. The next group, please. Please proceed.
So we are group 3, and we are presenting on strategic control. So that
Your line is
let's
unclear, so
reflect on
you
controlling,
need to
being it a
put yourself
management
well.
function as far as management of an organization. Hello, sir. Hello, here.
Yes, proceed.
Hello. Okay. So first of all, we would reflect on controlling. So when we talk about controlling as a management function, it simply means the process of measuring actual performance or comparing it with set standards or objectives and taking corrective actions to ensure that organizational goals are met. So when we talk about controlling from the management point of view, we measuring actual performance against stated objective or standards. With that, talking about strategic control, then we are looking at dealing with the monitoring the strategy after plans have been implemented in the organization. So when we talk about strategic control, this involves taking stock of the strategy and making any necessary corrections and clearing out any problems seen in its implementation. Strategic control provides the organization the ability to monitor the progress of the strategy implemented, to identify any flaws, and to take the necessary corrections in the implementation of the strategy. So basically, when we talk about strategic control, we are looking at plans or strategies being implemented. We are going to measure how the strategy that we've implemented, is it in accordance with the stated goals that we formulated? What are the things that we can do to ensure that we are on track for plans being put in place to be achieved? Also, strategic control provides the organization the ability to monitor the progress of the strategy implementation, identify any flaws, and take necessary corrections in the implementation of the strategy. The analysis of data pertaining to implementation plays a vital important part in
I
this.
hope you are not attempting to read to incur my wrath. Be advised.
Sure. Okay. So in general, we are looking at strategic control as part of the leadership of management activities that as part of corporate governance or in the act of management taking keen interest in management activities, what is supposed to be done for stated goals or stated objectives to be monitored and achieved accordingly. The next slide, please. So we are looking at focus of strategic control. Taking strategic control in general, what are our main focus? Specifically, in terms of management control, we are looking at forward-looking and also taking consideration uncertainty and ambiguity inherent in strategic planning. So we look forward into things, issues, problems that might happen. We factor it in the strategy, and also we cater for uncertainties, things that we do not know or we are not sure the probability for them to happen. We are not sure. We cater for those instances as well. And then ambiguity, certain things that are not that do not go deep down, certain plans that we formulated, but in terms of implementing it, things that will not go down for it to be shown. We also cater for all those things in our strategic planning. So basically, we focus on these areas. Strategic control moves beyond were done. So operational control, it focuses on four main areas. After looking into the future, catering for uncertainties and ambiguity in inherent cases of the planning. As strategic control is concerned. Then the second one is monitoring strategy execution. The third one is environmental scanning.
So, is it the location of post because it is distracted?
Right. So please go back to the other slide. I'm not done with that.
No, hello. Say kindly position or otherwise you stop the presentation. Hello, Jay. If you can hear us.
Yes, sir.
Your line is so imperfect. So if you can end the presentation, let someone whose line is okay continue. The line is not good at all. And these are examinable areas.
Doc, lawyer, please, is it okay now or still?
It's still bad. I don't know if it's from my end. Maybe your colleagues can confirm. If it's from my end, then I'll leave it so that you continue. Who can confirm it? Otherwise, if it is good for you, or then that's okay. Maybe I'm having the challenge. Who can confirm? Or none of you can?
House, is it okay for you? Can I proceed?
All right,
Please do. It's okay now.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay. All right. So taking it from focus of strategic control, we are looking at 4 main areas: testing strategic assumption, monitoring strategy execution, environmental planning, environmental scanning, and that of crisis response. So I would just break it down using a simple scenario or a situation. Under testing strategic assumption, we are looking at um,
Is it Jay that is speaking? Don't the next presenter should proceed.
Yeah, so we are continuing. We want to look at, strategic control has processes like any other strategy. We have processes in it. So we want to look at the processes or the process of strategic control. In the process, we have setting standards, or let's say performance standards. We have measurements. We have analyzing or variance analysis. And then we have the situation where we take correction or corrective actions where there are some discrepancies. So in setting the performance standards, we will make sure that our standards are realistic, they are real, they are measurable, and so on. That to say that because we want to evaluate at the end, every standard that we are setting will have to be set such a way that areas that will be evaluated will be pointed out. So that involves control. And so we will set the standards or establish the standards, and those standards must be clear, must be realistic, and must be measurable. Then we come to measurement. So we'll measure the performance or the actual performance. In that measurements, we will need to collect data, analyze the data, and then check it against the set standard. That is when the data is collected and analyzed to show or to have the performance of the organization. It will then be compared. That the actual will be compared so that we know whether we are moving according to the strategies or the strategies implemented are working or not. So we'll do comparison, compare the actual with the standards. And when the actual is compared with the standard and there are discrepancies or differences, there it will call for correction or take corrective action. And that corrective actions help us to know whether in the next phase of our strategies, how we'll be implementing again or reworking the whole process. So that is the processes that we go to: setting the performance standard, taking measurements, doing various variance analysis, and taking corrective action. Then we'll also look at the areas that we will carry out strategic control. In the areas such as financial, we may project that by the end of the period, we may have to achieve 15% increase in our return of investment, as an example. And so we also look at the customer. That is another area where strategic control standards are carried out. So we look at the customer, how we satisfy our customers is a point of interest in the control strategy. So maybe if we peg that the customer, we want to achieve a certain percentage of customer satisfaction, say 90%, then it will be our target in the process. Another area where strategic control will take place is the growth of the entire business or the area in which our focus is. So we work on the growth, and then we will say maybe our growth for the period, maybe 20% or any target percentage we have fixed, and that will be our focus. And these are all some of the examples that we can think of if we are looking at the areas of strategic control in an organization. Market is also another important one. The market, we want to achieve market coverage of a certain percentage. So those are the areas we can talk of as to cover in our strategic control. I will leave you for the next person also to continue. Thank you.
Hello. I am William Seboa, and I'm going to talk about the theories that underpin strategic control. There are several theories that underpin strategic control. We have taken into consideration two of the theories. The first one is the agency theory, and the second one is the resource-based view. The agency theory talks about the relationship that exists between the principal and the agent. And there is an assumption that the agents are not going to act in the best interest of the principal of the firm. As a result, we have to put things in place to monitor the activities of the agents so that it will go with the plan objectives. If you leave the agents alone, they are going to do things that will satisfy their self-interest. So we have to monitor the agents so that they will act in the best interest of the firm. And the second thing also talks about this view is about how organizations or firms will use resources, their internal resources and capabilities to gain competitive edge over their competitors. So how best is the organization going to use the internal resources like the skills of their employees and that of technology, the process that they can use that will be difficult for their competitor to copy so that they will get competitive edge. So I'd like us to have some look at the agency theory. And I said that the agency examines the relationship between principal, that is the owners and the agents. And the core premise under which the agency theory works is that there is an assumption that the interests of the principal, the agent, do not align. If you leave the agents alone, they are going to do things that will satisfy their interests at the expense of the agents or the shareholders who have established the organization. So it says that agents may be tempted to act in their own self-interest, example, to maximize their personal compensation or job security, rather than maximizing the shareholders' wealth. So because of this, from the agency perspective, it's necessary to monitor the agents and ensure they are executing the agreed upon strategies and making decisions that are in the interest of the principals. So this is the reason for the agency theory. Then look at the mechanisms driven by agency theory. Look at output control. The first one is setting financial targets. Example, return on investment, profit, and also linking management compensation directly to the strategic direction. Then we also look at behavioral control. That is the organization establishing rules and budgets and operational procedures to restrict managerial opportunism. Then we look at corporate governance, the structure of the board of directors that is responsible for monitoring and controlling the management. That is the under agency theory. Then we look at that of the resource-based view. It says that the resource-based view of the firm poses that a company's sustained competitive advantage is a primarily derived from its internal and capabilities. That is valuable, rare, inimitable, and non-substitutable. So that is for the organization to gain competitive edge over their competitors. They have to have resources, internal resources and processes that will be difficult for the competitor to copy. So if it is only that of the organization that has that type of resources and capabilities, that means it will be difficult for competitors the same. Now we can look at the premise. The internal strengths such as employee skills, unique technology, efficient internal processes, and culture are the ultimate source of superior performance. So if the organization has all these internal resources and processes, then that means that They can produce goods of higher quality that the competitor will find it difficult to copy. Then we look at the relevance of this theory. Strategic control is crucial for protecting, nurturing, and effectively utilizing the critical internal resource and capabilities. If the strategy relies on a core competence, example, innovative product development, control mechanism must ensure this capability is maintained and properly leveraged during implementation. Then we also look at the control mechanisms driven by the resource-based view. The first strategy is strategic surveillance. That is board monitoring of internal environment to ensure core competencies are not eroding. So the board making sure that they maintain the resources or the capabilities that they have that their competitor does not have, so that always they will be at the top in the competition process. Then we have control process, implementing quality management systems, research and development protocols, and continuous improvement processes to protect and enhance key capabilities. Then we have cultural or clan control, fostering a strong organizational culture that promote the value and behaviors essential for strategic advantage. For example, a culture of innovation to support and research and development based strategy. Then, in conclusion, we said that the theories are important because they provide a logical foundation for designing an organization's strategic control system. And the reasons are one, they define the problem, B, they justify the mechanism, and that of I guide the focus. I'll end here for my sister to talk about the importance of strategic control.
No, the time is fast spent, so kindly summarize it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We are looking at the importance of strategic control system, strategic control. Why is it important in management? One, we talk about control and efficiency. We can say that strategic control helps organizations to use their resources, so that is time, money, and then the human resource wisely. It ensures activities are done correctly, and then there are less or no waste of time. Example, we can look at managers monitoring the resources in an organization, monitoring that they are used well, so that management can cut costs and then improve productivity. The second point I'll talk about is control and quality. Through strategic control, managers can maintain and then improve the quality of products or services they provide. It's the strategic control sets performance standards that managers use to ensure that the work they do meets those standards. An example, we can say that when managers regularly check the quality of the company's goods and services or the products and services they provide, it can lead to having quality services that are provided. And then the third point we talk about is control and innovation. Here we are talking about the management or the business or organization adapting to new ideas, methods, and then ways of doing things. So strategic management encourages innovation by identifying areas that needs improvement and supporting new ideas. It also helps organizations to test and then monitor the innovative strategies to monitor their services and products. For example, we can say that a company may monitor the success of a new digital tool and adjust it to better meet market demands or market needs. And therefore, I'm talking about the last point, which is control and responsiveness to customers. This way, we are talking about how the organization quickly responds to customers' feedback. Yes. It also helps to track customer satisfaction. This way, when the strategic management is in place, the managers are able to know whether the customers are being satisfied with
The
the.
time has spent. Kindly conclude this.
Okay, so you can say that it helps track customer satisfaction and then adapt to strategies to meet changing preferences from customers. Thank you, sir.
Very well. Thank you. As for this third group, I think it's William Yeboah. He did a good job. Is it William Yeboah? With the theories and all. He did a good job. Clearly, Chase line was not the best, but because of that, you ate into the time. But anyhow, you've done your best. I commend you. So, colleagues, are there any questions from the house?
No, sir.
All right. So, if there are none, my question to the house is, when you do strategic control and you see that you are performing better than expected, what do you have to do according to theory? Yes, anyone at all. When you do your strategic control, realize that no, you are doing better than you even projected. With the help of a theory, should you do?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, let's proceed.
Sir, under resource-based theory, it means that we have to maintain that one. We have to maintain it because you want to satisfy your customers and gain competitive edge. So if you are performing more than expected, then you keep it up so that your competitors cannot come closer to you. So you will always be the leading competitor and they will be the followers. That is my opinion.
All right,
Though,
that's very.
to add up,
That's very.
under the resource-based theory, we can say that we are achieving more than expected. In that case, we are on track. Therefore, our various people or the people that we are working, we are the various resources that is helping us to achieve this extra performance, like the insiders, business experts, and that of specialists and other things that we've brought as resource persons or items to support this to support achieve this extra performance. We should concentrate on those areas. If it's about motivation, we should continue to motivate them to maintain than drawing back or deteriorating. So the resources that is helping us to achieve this target, we should concentrate on it and maintain than to deteriorate. And
All
also
right.
we should be over pampered that the resources are working. So we will not stay focused. We shouldn't be over pampered as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. You've done well. So let's go to the final group. You have the floor. Please do this in 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Without much ado, let me start. We are Group 4. We are looking at strategic leadership. My name is Abbas Amidu, and I will take the competencies of leadership. Now, leadership is the ability of an individual, group of individuals to influence others to achieve set goals. Now, who then is a leader? We can then say that a leader is therefore an individual who has the ability to influence others to achieve goals. Now, what is strategic leadership? Strategic leadership is the ability to guide an organization toward long-term success by anticipating change, setting a clear vision, and making decisions that balance current needs with future goals. Now, a leader in strategic management must be competent in both management and leadership. And we know that management is about efficiency. In other words, doing things right. But leadership is about effectiveness, that is, doing the right things. Let's move to the key leadership competences. Now, these competences can be grouped into three interconnected areas where we have the strategic thinking and visionary competences. And then we have strategic planning and execution competences. And the last one, we have people and influence competences. Now, let's start with the first key competence or leadership competence, which is the strategic thinking and visionary competence. Now, this is the head and heart of strategic leadership. In other words, the ability to see the big picture and chart the course. Now, there are some key areas. Now, a leader must be able to display visionary thinking. Now, the leader must have the ability to articulate a compelling and aspirational picture of the future. And an example is Steve Jobs of Apple, as we all know. His vision was just simple. He just thought that he has to put a computer in the hands of everyday people. And that is what he sought to do. And that is visionary thinking. Another key element under the first point is strategic foresight and environmental scanning. Now, it has to do with constantly monitoring the external environment. When we talk about external environments, we are looking at it being political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. And then the competitive landscape to identify opportunities, threats, and emerging trends before they become obvious. And the next is systems thinking. Now, this is understanding the organization as a complex, interconnected system. So a leader recognizes that a change in marketing will affect operations, finance, and human resource. And so they can see the second and third order consequences of strategic decisions. Now let's move to the second key competence, which is strategic planning and execution competences. And this is the hands of strategic leadership. In other words, this is where you translate vision into actionable reality. And then there are key points under this particular key. One of them is strategic resource allocation. And it is simply making disciplined choices about where to invest resources. So it could be capital, talent, time. Now, this often means saying no to good projects, to say like saying yes to great ideas that are truly aligned with the strategy. Another point is aligning structure with strategy. Now, this is where you ensure the organization's structure, the systems and processes are designed to support the strategic objectives. Now, the last key competence is people and influence competences. Now, this is the soul of strategic leadership. In other words, the human element that makes execution possible. And under this, we have some elements. We have inspirational communication, simply the ability to just cascade the strategy throughout the organization in a way that is clear or compelling or meaningful to every level. Now, it connects an employee's daily tasks to the vision that has been set. In other words, the grand vision. And the last is influencing and negotiation. This is where that leader must be able to collaborate with key stakeholders, or we have the board members, investors, partners, or other departments who are definitely critical to the strategy's success, even without direct authority over them. Now, these areas or these key competencies that I've mentioned, there are other schools of thought where we can make reference to Warren Bennis and then Bert Nanus, if I get the names right, 1985. They identified 4 competencies of leadership. So that is another school of thought. I think I'll leave it here for my honorable sister Bennis to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. I will continue from leadership styles, or I will deal with the leadership styles. Now, every leader's joy is to see that his employers or subordinates are doing their best in order for them to achieve their goals. And so as a leader, you put in place strategies or approaches that will guide and motivate these employees so that they can put in their very best, that whatever you desire, whatever the goals of the organization is, can really be achieved. And so we move on to look at some common leadership styles. There are a number of them. We look at this few we have here for the sake of time, and then the advantages and the disadvantages, so that if we are choosing from any of these leadership styles, we know what we are doing. So the very first one I would want to go with is the autocratic leadership style. This style of leadership is more centralized. Centralized in the sense that it has to do with the leader making majority or most of the decisions. The leader takes control, or the leader is in control of what happens or what goes on, decides what should be done and at what time it should be done. And it has some advantages as well as disadvantages. And this leadership style is effective or more effective when it comes to where there are situations that demand immediate action. And that is where efficiency in crisis becomes an advantage. So where there are emergencies that some actions or decisions will have to be taken quickly, then because the leader will not have to take ideas from anybody, he or she can quickly take a decision and then move on. And so decision making, like I've said already, is quick without the need of anybody's consensus. Then it brings out clear expectations. Now, when because it's the leader alone who is making the decisions and not consulting anybody, let me say there is no confusion. You know, where a number of people or a group of people are deciding to come to a particular agreement, sometimes there are these confusion where somebody's ideas are not picked or are not accepted or some of those things. So the advantages of autocratic leadership has to do with quick decision making, clear direction, efficient in crisis. I know there are more. We will just do with this. Then disadvantages. When it comes to disadvantages, every decision is dependent on the leader. One of the disadvantages, because we are all looking up to the leader to make decisions or to tell us what to do. And when that happens, employees, they feel they are not valued. Why is it that they are not listening to us? Why is it that we are not we all know that we have something in mind, or we believe in ourselves, that we have skills, we have knowledge, we have been trained for. So at least we can also bring something on board. But here lies the case. We are not giving the mandate. So it limits their creativity. And then their morale also becomes very low, which eventually affects the job they do, or eventually leads to low job satisfaction.
We will now take democratic leadership style. With democratic leadership style, we are looking at the participative approach. This is a participative approach to leadership. Participative in the sense that leaders involve employees in their decisions, or leaders allow employees to bring what they have within them, what they have in mind on board during the decision-making process or during activities. And this is one of the leadership styles that actually makes informed decisions, or leads to well or more informed and all-rounded decisions, because everybody, a number of people are coming in. Then it allows for diverse ideas. It allows for fosters creativity and innovation. We all have different mindsets. We all have different skills. We are all exposed to different things. And so when we are coming in, we will come in with a lot, and we can pick from them those that are very essential, or those that will help the organization achieve. We can pick from them, and then we use them. And it involves the employees. So increased engagement here. They are participating, so they have high job satisfaction. They are happy. When you bring your idea and we are working with it, you feel valued. You feel that you are part of what is being done. And so you do so with morale. Now, the disadvantage is the fact that because we are soliciting ideas to come to a conclusion from a number of people, it sometimes takes a lot of time for us to decide or to come into agreement with a particular thing. And that is where time consuming comes in. And then also we say one of the disadvantages is the fact that leaders may end up struggling. You know, we have brought a lot of ideas on, but sometimes it becomes difficult for you to make a final decision if you actually want to prioritize everyone's inputs. You want to put, or you want to make use of what everybody brought on board. It becomes difficult to choose which one am I taking, whose own am I leaving, and that is where the whole thing or the confusion comes from. We take transformational leadership style. Now, with transformational leadership style, we are looking at where a leader, or this is the approach where the leader encourages employees or motivates them to perform or to achieve more. And with this approach, it encourages creativity. It encourages innovation. It inspires people. If you are working under a transformational leader, you want to bring in your best. You want to do everything possible to see that the goals or whatever we want to achieve, we are achieving them. There is a high sense of purpose and commitment to doing whatever you are doing. That's where high morale comes in. And then also there is openness, adaptability. We are ready to adapt because we have a goal ahead of us, and we are encouraged to bring on board what we have within us. And so when there is a change, or we have to do some slight changes or whatever to make sure that we are achieving, it is easily, or it is open. We are open, employees are open to that. We take few disadvantages from this transformational leadership approach. High expectations. We may set some expectations which we may be disappointed because we have, we think that we have a lot of inspiration. We think that we are motivated to bring everything we have in, and so we may be setting standards. The leader may be setting some standards, which if it is not achieved, it will end up bringing disappointment. Then the team's performance may be heavily reliant on the leader's vision and energy. So the kind of spirit, the kind of vision, whatever the leader wants or things that should be achieved, they will bring in. That's the only thing. They feel that's the only thing that needs to be achieved. And so they will bring in, or they will do only that. The last thing I want to talk about is transactional leadership style, focusing on tasks, rewards, and punishments. Clear expectations happens to be one of the advantages. Accountability and efficiency. It is effective in organizations with well-defined tasks and goals. Like we said, if you look at the approach, it says that it is focusing on what needs to be achieved. There is a task, and then what comes with the task that is going to be achieved. And if it is not achieved, the punishment or what also comes with that one. So it is effective where we have clear goals or clearly stated goals to achieve. Then this type of approach can be very effective. And then also it encourages performance-based rewards. So there is accountability. And then, like we said, penalties also. Now, looking at the disadvantages, we talk about limited creativity. Hello? Hey, am I off or on? Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
And just
Okay.
go
So,
on, we can hear you.
yes. Thank you. So I'm looking at the disadvantages of transactional leadership style. And one of them, or I have three of them, the limited creativity, short-term focus, transactional relationship. Where employees only work for rewards rather than intrinsic motivation, it can lead to this kind of what is a transactional relationship. It's like we have a contract. I'm doing it, and I'm doing this for this purpose. I'm receiving my salary. So the only thing, if I have anything to bring on board to even expand or to make it more, to make us achieve more, no. The only thing I'll be asked to do, the only thing I need is this is to be done to receive. And so I am doing that so that I'll receive whatever I have to. And then it stifles creativity and innovation due to the focus on rewards and punishments. The aim is to be rewarded. It's either I'm doing it to be rewarded, I don't do it, I'm going to be punished. So I'm always in my lane. I am doing only that which I have been asked to do. Apart from these ones, there are a number of leadership styles, which we know a lot of them. Situational leadership styles are there. We have the service leadership styles. They are also there, where leaders are focusing on the growth and development of their employees. They are all there. We have the leadership style where autonomy is given to employees with minimal interference. Now, what I want to say is with all these types of leadership approaches, they have their weaknesses, they have their strengths. They become more effective when the way we use them, or depending on the goals that the organization is seeking to achieve. Thank you. I'll let my colleague continue from here.
All right, thank you, sir. Good afternoon to you all. Please, I am Charles, and I am taking you through leadership and management. Now, leadership and management in organization, usually we interchangeably use them in organization. And so each of them have their focus or focal direction that they play in organization. So I am going to look at the role or the focus of leadership and the focus of management respectively. I would like to start with the leadership, the focus of leadership. In organization as a whole, a leadership focus on one. The first one is vision. So having a vision in organization means as a leaders, they have to get a foresight for the holistic and the broader goal that they have achieved. They have to get a foresight for the organization so that when the organization is deviating, they should know as a leaders. The second one that I would like to take or consider is be strategic or strategic. As a leaders must be a strategic because organization as a whole, when you are in competition, if you are not strategic, it means your competitors are going to be strategic and they will outweigh you. So being strategic simply means that you have to do everything right possible to outweigh or overcome or being competitive edge in the company. That is another focus that leaders also play. Then they look at the objectives or the aspirations of the company. Where is the company? What is the motive, or where is the company going, or the broader objectives that the company have set? The long-term objective and the short-term objective. These are the things that leaders in organization have at heart to consider. And they look at the influence. That is the fourth one, the influence. How the organization are going to do things right to be a competitive advantage in the competitive environment. And then after that, I will take you through the management. The management focus in organization. Basically, we have said it a lot. And the little one that I would like to add is the planning. So management, they focus on the planning. They again focus on the organizing. Then they focus on controlling, leading, and monitoring. All these ones are the things that organization management puts at heart. So in planning, when organization have its goals, they have to plan in such a way that they can achieve their goals that they have set aside. That is doing everything right for you to get your objectives that you have set. That is it is a management function that they consider. Then in organization, they put everything right, all the structures and all organizational structures and anything that can the resources that the workers need to deploy or to get their work done correctly or efficiently for them to achieve their goals. This is basically focal point for managers or management in organization. Then they also look at the controlling aspects. In the controlling aspects, organizational control, they monitor progress of work and put in and look at the deviation and put in good measures to bring the deviation that they have had as a gap in place. That is good controlling that organizational management consider. And leading, they lead the leading, we direct who to do this, who to do that. All these ones are basically the focus of the management. In looking at the leadership focus and the management focus, it brings, if organization able to do it right, it brings a benefit that organizations stand to gain. The first one is it clearly defines direction to the organization. Once you have your focus as a leader and you have a focus as a management, it clearly defines your objectives. Where are you heading towards? You know your good rules that you are following so that you don't deviate. So that is one advantage. It brings about clearly direction or clear defined direction that organizations stand to gain. And again, it brings about effectiveness in decision making. It helps organization to define or to select best alternative that they have in place, the best one that can solve the problem or can help the organization to achieve their objectives. And the next one that I would like to consider this, it brings about increasing being an efficiency. Yes, once you focus on your goals right, or you focus on the functions that you perform, the leadership focus and the management, it brings about increasing efficiency. Yes, because you are doing things right, you are not going to get things which is not done properly. So everybody or all employees in organization are going to put up their best so that they bring their effort or productivity together with the broader objective of the organization. By so doing, they bring about efficiency. So with these two focus, we have a theory that underpins the leadership and the management focus. The two theories that I would like to look at is the stewardship theory. And the stewardship theory It basically says that organization or corporate entity must have its directors, board of directors, and it's focused that because organization have its board of directors, there is no need to bring in additional agency to be a watchdog for the organization. Organizational directors can do everything right to benefit the shareholders and all the shareholders or those who are interested in the organization. And the next theory that I would like to look at is the dependency theory. Sorry, the resource dependency theory. The resource dependency theory look at, or in context, look at where organization have its raw materials to feed its company. Example, if your organization that you are getting your resource from an illegal mining company supplying a company with materials. So if your organization then you buy things or your materials from a source which is illegal, it means as an organization you don't have stand. The possibility for you to fail in the market is high. And so these two theories augment our presentation this afternoon. I would like to end here for my other group members to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Abdurrahman. I am taking the next point. That's leadership role in strategic change.
Charles, you may mute.
Before we look at the role that the leadership plays, leaders themselves should possess some qualities. Qualities like a leader should be a visionary, that's one, and also have quality communication skills and be a facilitator and also role model to ensure a successful change in the organization. That's what a leader should possess, should have. One of these are the following are the rules that a leader needs to bring about change in any organization. One of the rules is that the leader should be able to define and communicate the vision behind the change. The purpose of the change should be clear to the employee. The leader should make it, the leader should make the employee understand why the change. And the second point is a leader should be able to create a strategic roadmap to develop a clear strategy and action plan with defined objectives and responsibility to achieve that change. The leader should be able to inspire and motivate his followers in order to achieve that vision and purpose. The leader should be able to manage the human element, meaning should be able to understand or focus to see the obstacle that come on his way, especially the employees, those that are resistant to change. The leader should be able to know these people who are resistant to change. I think the leader can even start with those people first before even explain to other people. For example, as a leader of an organization, you know your employee very well, and you know the stubborn one and those that are ready for change and those that are not ready for change. So those that are stubborn or are not ready for change, maybe you can communicate or call them first, communicate to them. You should be able to convince them, tell them the benefits or the objectives of the change before organizing a general meeting. So if you are able to convince them, tell them the objective or the purpose behind the change, then the rest will follow. But if these stubborn ones or those who are not ready for change, if you are unable to convince them, when you call for a general meeting, these people will be there to come also resist that or resist to accept the change. As a leader, it's able to build a trust between you and your employees. It should be transparent, keeping commitment, and also demonstrating empathy. As a leader, you should be able to empower your employee, give them all the resources that they need in order to achieve the change that you want. And at the end, as a leader, you should be able to monitor and also evaluate the progress of the work or the change that you want. In summary, I think this is what I have for you. We don't have enough time to explain more than you've already spent all our time. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. And you've done a good job at leadership. I like the theories. Charles Samuel did a good job at introducing the theories. So we'll leave it at that. Colleagues, any questions from the house? All right. If there are no questions, my question to you will be, what leadership style do you think won't be a right approach to strategically manage a company? Which leadership style would not be the right one in pursuit of strategic management?
Hello, sir. Doc.
Yes,
Hello.
proceed.
Yeah. Please, I think being an autocratic leader may not help organization to, achieve your goals, because an autocratic leader usually brings in what he think it is good, and because organization we are there as a teamwork. If you ask or sit here from your employees and you think whatever you have in mind is the best one, eventually the employees are going to be, they will side down themselves from the decision that you bring. They see it as an influence and they will not give out their best. And so if they are not giving up their best, it means it is going to affect the broader objective of the company. So being an autocratic is not the best. Thank you, sir.
Very well. You've done well. I take it as on behalf of the group. Okay, so we have come this far. Thank you all of you for coming. And indeed, we are about 18 or 17 online.
Hello,
And
sir.
ever since we started, yes, William.
Hello, sir. Based on what we have studied, I beg to differ about what our brother has just said. That based on a contingency theory, the leadership style will be determined by the behavior of the subordinates. So based on what your workers are behaving, that will determine whether you are to go by any of the leadership style. Either you go by laissez-faire, autocratic, or whatever leadership style you want to. That is my view.
Yeah. Yeah, so your view is correct, and you don't beg to differ, because based on your theory, now I appreciate what you want to say. So that's what you'll be doing the exam center. So it's a good point you have made, because you are arguing from the contingency theory point of view. So it's correct. You get it, yes. So depending on the theory and your hold, you can always make a fair argument. All right. So you have 15 to 17 on the page. But I have only 6 of you or 5 join our class. All those ones are on record, because unknown to all of you, I took records for all those who attended the class for ethics and strategic management, as we realized that most students do not participate in the class. And so those records have been duly taken. But as many as have just joined us for the presentation too, you have done well. We hope to meet some other time. You can tell that the head of the course again is Professor Abraham Anson. He extends his regards to you. All the best in your quizzes and your exams. Put in your best effort. Don't come out of the exam hall without citing a theory. Otherwise, if there be no comments or opinions, I think that we'll leave it here and enjoy our Sundays. It's been a good time. I wish you all the very best. We'll meet sometime in life. Have a good time.
Thank you.
And Poma, I'll need the list. Anyone who knows where Poma is on the screen, let her know. I'll need the list.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
I'll need the list in the order in which the presentations were done. Thank you very much.
Okay. So group leaders, I
Thank
hope
you,
you
Tutor.
heard
Bye
the
bye.
Okay. Have a good time. Bye.
And Poma, please, my index number, you change it before you submit the list to lecturer, our dog.